E em seguida nós teremos uma palestra comercial da empresa Euromáquina sobre Fluxcleaning 2.0. Gostaria também de lembrar que aquele que desejar, nós temos o equipamento de tradução simultânea que se encontra na entrada da sala. Então eu gostaria de convidar para subir ao palco Mr. Wimbrand Sema.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just before your lunch break, I hope I'm not I hope that I'm not gonna bore you with my story. I want to talk about flux cleaning, about improving your flux treatment and improving your galvanized steel. The company is called Indufinish. It's industrial finishing. That's quite simple, and one of the products that we have engineered, developed and produced is a flux cleaning unit. My name is Wim Brandsema. I'm Dutch. I'm from the Netherlands. It's a very small country. Netherlands has about 16 million people. I believe Sao Paulo has already 20 million. And I'm hoping that I'll be back next year, maybe in a final or something, that our orange guys come with me to Brazil. I'm the managing director and the owner of Indufinish, 25 years of experience in hot dip galvanizing, and since a couple of years, since 5 years, I'm a board member of the Benelux branch organization of surface treatment. Short story of company. The previous speakers were talking about duplex systems. Maybe you know in Western Europe there is a lot to do on duplex systems, especially in the sea areas. That means that our company develops engineering, produces equipment for surface treatment, not only for hot dip galvanizing, but also for powder coating, anodizing, plating and e-coat. And that has something to do with all the combinations between these different types of surface treatment. Connections between powder and wet lacquer and galvanized steel or anodized aluminum and powder, and that are we doing 25 years. The Netherlands, small country, Western Europe, also it's part of the Benelux. This is our building, it's Emmen, northern part of Holland. Facts. Grounded 1991. Privately owned by myself and my partner, Han Klein, 40 full-time employees, and our research and development budget is about 3% of the annual turnover. And is that important? Well, for us it is. Even when the crisis came in 2008, 2009, we still maintained that budget of research and development. And that means that we are in certain situations, 5, 6 people will sit down at a table. The sales department, I'm in the sales department, have interviewed their customers or potential customers, and we would like to develop things, products that you will need this year, but also next year. Our installations are throughout Europe. Powered by Dutch technology. What does that mean? We think we're quite intelligent. We're dynamic, we're driven. I've got 40 passionate colleagues, I would say working their ass off every day to develop themselves and to develop our products. Quality. We're working in the standard of ISO 9001. We also have Anerkennung Fachbetrieb. That means that's German. If you want to export your products to Germany, you will need Anerkennung Fachbetrieb. And it means a lot of our products are made out of plastic, thermoplastic materials. And it's a sort of a certificate. Every plastic welder has a certificate, so we can do our job very well. Social media. If you look me up on Twitter, if you look me up on LinkedIn, you will find me. And that's not that I've got so much time or free time, but we would like to communicate with our customers, also with our suppliers, and we think that both items can do that. And Indufinish has its own YouTube channel. If you look it up, you will find 15, something like that, 15 videos of equipment of ours. And nowadays we started to make instruction videos for operating people at, for example, galvanizing plants and so on. And it works rather well. Portfolio, I've already told you. I'm not going to talk about the last four. I'm only going to talk about galvanizing. I'm going to walk you through our company. We are engineering and producing and installing pre-treatment equipment. That means from your degreasing tank up to your flux tank and everything between it, as in heating, extraction, you name it, we're going to build it. This is a plant in Berlin for a rather large group of galvanizers in Germany. It's fully enclosed, and every part inside the pre-treatment area is made out of plastic. It won't corrode. I'm not going to say it lasts forever, because I think that nothing will last forever in a hard galvanizing plant. So you have to design something that you can easily repair. These pre-treatment tanks are made out of polyethylene. It's a sort of new type polyethylene. It's called PE100RC. And the RC stands for resistant to crack. It's state of the art. And we are so confident with our products, we can give you up guarantees, warranties up to 10 years for our tanks. On the left you will find a plant somewhere in Belgium, also a large group of galvanizers. These tanks are 15 years old. I would say that an average tank, thermoplastic tank, can hold up 25 years in a galvanizing plant, but it depends on the construction. If you construct it in a DVS, in Deutsche Einfuhrweistechnik, if you construct it in a way like that, we calculate on a life cycle of 25 years. And on the right is our production facility with some tanks. Linings. I can't imagine that we were going to do linings in Brazil, but in Western Europe we are doing it every week. That means all tanks made out of concrete, made out of steel, made out of any material. As long as the chassis of the tank is all right, we can provide you with linings, so the life cycle or the lifetime of your tank will at least hold another 10 years. Spinning, that means we do the pre-treatment fully automated for spinning installations. We do not the zinc part, we do not, we just take the products. We will start with the loading area. The whole pre-treatment plant is operated by one guy, and another guy will operate the hot part, the zinc part. We will pickle in barrels, in stainless steel barrels or in plastic barrels. It's your choice. We'll give you a very short pre-treatment time, and after fluxing we will give it away to the zinc part of the installation by a conveyor belt, and here we will weigh the basket where we put the products in. Flux cleaning. Flux cleaning 1.0. In one of these developing sessions in 2006, we learned from our customers that there is a lot of equipment in the market that had to take the iron out of the flux fluid. But a lot of that equipment is in the market and will operate for a year or for 2 years, and then it's going to stop. There's either no service or maintenance on the unit, or they don't know how to operate the unit, So a lot of money. And we like to be challenged. And these were the first challenges. Not that difficult, I would say. Because the main goal is getting the iron out. As you know, the more iron in your flux fluid, the higher your sink pickup, the more ashes, the more dross, less quality, more hard sink in your sink layer, more spikes, whatever. You have to make sure that your iron is out of your flux fluid. Another question was that they would like to have a compact unit. If there's a group of galvanizers, let's say 4 or 5, they won't buy 5 units. I'm sorry for that. But they want to buy 1 unit and just travel around with that unit from plant to plant. Of course, easy to maintain and service, and online servicing. And well, this is not the prototype, and this is one of the latest models, because I'm going to talk about Fluxcleaning 2.0, but we are already designing or developing Fluxcleaning 3.0. But I'll get back on that later. It's quite simple. You've got no steel parts on the outside, only clamps. All these air-driven membrane pumps are installed between hoses, so vibrations won't get into the piping. And these clamps are made out of galvanized steel, and they will corrode. So we will change them every year, just to make sure that nothing gets broken. It's very compact, 3 meters, 2 meters, and 1 meter deep. And next to that you will need a filter press and 2 IBCs, and you're up and running. On the side, you can't see it on this picture, on the side we've got an electrical cabinet and a pneumatical cabinet, and you can operate the unit just by pushing the OP panel. Result, we had built a prototype. I believe there's missing a letter. And we asked a Dutch galvanizer, what would you say, we will give you a flux cleaning unit for nothing, for free. But we would like to have your knowledge in return. And it was a typical sports galvanizer. He said, if you're proving within 4 or 5 months that I'm going to earn money with your unit, I'm going to pay. He paid after 4 months. The unit is still up and running. Of course, we had our difficulties in the first few months. We had a circulating pump, an electrical circulating pump. It went down, so we changed it by a plastic membrane pump. Facts. You will only need standard chemistry on a unit. We were using hydrogen peroxide to oxidize the iron, and we'll use ammonium to correct the pH, to move it up. One of the main differences of our unit in comparison to our colleagues is we never overdose hydrogen peroxide. Is that important? Yes, it is important. If you're overdosing hydrogen peroxide, it will get into your flux tank and it will oxidize the iron in your flux tank, and therefore you will get sludge in your flux tank, or you will drag the flux on your steel products into the kettle. And why don't we have overdosing of hydrogen peroxide? Most units will take 2 or 3 cubic meters out of your flux tank, and they will take the iron out. They have a reactor tank, they will put chemistry in, and after that they will take the iron out. We don't do that. We circulate on a speed of 1 or 2 cubic meters an hour, and in our software we've got a program of 1, 2 or 3 grams per liter to take the iron out. That means if I choose the program 1 gram a liter, I know exactly how many hydrogen peroxide I need to oxidize 1 gram a liter, and that's why there's never been overdosed. You don't have sludge in your tank, and your iron is on a constant level. So, Flux Cleaning 2.0. We sold about 40 units there throughout Europe, and after the first 10 units we got the impression that we did more than only getting the iron out. We had the impression that we did something on process control, and that the quality of the galvanized steel was improving. We didn't know that for sure, but we thought that came through the reactions of our customers. So we had to investigate. We started again. We started again to investigate all the parameters that we thought were important for your flux treatment, as in temperature, concentration ratio, pH, iron content, and surface tension. Temperature. Our flux treatment, our flux cleaner, won't affect your temperature of the flux. If we're taking it out and we're circulating it and we're pumping it back, and if that's a very large distance, maybe you will cool off some flux, but until now we didn't experience that. But what is important is that you make sure that your flux product is dry when you enter it in your kettle. I'm sure everybody knows, but drying is very important. It reduces splatter. And it means most plants in Europe are using a dryer. That means that the flux temperature is about at 40, 45 degrees or 50. If you don't have a dryer, I think you have to move your temperature up to 70 or 80 degrees. Parameters on concentration. Western Europe, not the UK, but Western Europe is using flux on about 400 grams a liter. The UK is using 200 grams a liter. And this ammonium hydroxide that we are using to keep up the pH, that will influence your ratio and density. And therefore, we will need zinc chloride. Because the goal is actually to get a never dump system. We want to install the flux cleaner, we will service your fluid, and you're ready. You only have to buy standard chemistry, as in hydrogen peroxide and ammonium, and that's it. And if you don't have a strip tank, if you don't have stripping acid, you can dose fresh zinc chloride, but otherwise we will take your we will take your stripping acid, and we will take the zinc chloride out of your stripping acid and we'll dose it, and therefore your concentration will be in shape. Then pH. That's quite a different story. Most galvanizers or most flux fluid are operating on pH 4.5. And we did some investigation and nobody knows why. Even the suppliers of the flux fluid can't tell us why they are fluxing at 4.5. They simply don't know. But a disadvantage of your flux fluid is, on 4.5, it is less aggressive, it's less active. I'm sure all your plants are in good shape and you have a good degreasing tank and you have got 6 beautiful pickle tanks and your products are being well pre-treated. But if something going wrong, when something is not on the spot, you will have your flux on 2.3, because we are working with flux on pH 2.3. It will polish the surface. It's a sort of a slightly pickling, a slightly last step in pre-treatment. A disadvantage of that is that your iron content will build up faster in the flux tank. But if you're using our unit, we will take the iron out, so no problem. Why are we using 2.3? First, we're polishing the surface, and next to that you will get much more drier filter cake. And this filter cake you have to get rid of. And if the level of fluid in this filter cake is high, you have to dispose more material. And we've got a filter cake with a dry content of about 40–50%. Very dry, less money for disposal. Iron content, I've already talked about it. We think it's recommendable that you're operating below 5 grams a liter. Most units that we installed and these flux tanks are operating about 1 gram a liter. And oxidation with hydrogen peroxide is most common. Okay, you can do other chemicals, but we are using hydrogen peroxide. Surface tension. It's important that your flux fluid has the lowest surface tension, because in that way it will crawl around your product. And this flux layer, this salt layer, has a large effect on the quality of the buildup of your zinc layer. So make sure that the surface tension is very low. So there was a couple of galvanizers were a bit worried about the stableness of these wetting agents that make sure that you've got a low surface tension. They were worried about it. So we let 2 chemical suppliers in Germany test it, and the modern wetting agents are very stable towards hydrogen peroxide. 3 cases. The first one is the prototype, Dutch General Galvanizer. Second one is a production company in Germany of crash barriers. And the last one was at one of the largest groups in Germany. And there we did the tests, the practical tests on lowering the pH. First one, prototype, capacity 15 tons a year. He was operating at 3.9 pH. His iron level was 19 grams a liter. In Europe that's rather high. That means that the quality of your galvanized steel is going down. And we started the unit up in 2007. As I told you, we had some difficulties in the first few months. We made some changes to our software, we made some other changes, and it went rather well. April 2008, pH between 2 and 3. Color coffee brown of the flux, like it should be, less than 5 grams a liter, and the filter press was being emptied once a week. We have only one size flux cleaner. One size fits all. Only the size of the filter press is different. If you are doing 7,000 tons a year, you will need a smaller filter press than 60,000 tons. But you can also use the same flux cleaner. And we are calculating the sludge, the filter cake, the amount of filter cake. And because of that amount, we can say, okay, this is the size filter press you will need, so you can empty it once a week. If it will cost too much money, you can buy a smaller one, then you have to empty the filter press every day, depending on you. But we would like to prefer, we were looking at once a week. What did he save? 30 cubes of new flux, disposal of 30 cubes old flux. He had not to empty his tank to get rid of the sludge on the bottom, and he had an impression that his quality was improving, but nothing more than that. Second one, it was a rather, it was a challenge. Flux tank with 78 grams a liter. It was pitch black. It didn't even smell like flux. But in the end, we sold the unit, we installed it, we started in February 2009. We couldn't, the pH was below 0.5, but actually we couldn't measure it. So we started up to make the, if the pH is that low, you can't oxidize iron. So we moved up with the pH, and we wrote a different program, 5 grams a liter, otherwise it would take more than a year. And they had to empty the filter press multiple times a week. 2009, that means 4, 5, 6 months. operating at 2.3, below 1 gram a liter, color brown, coffee brown, and the same savings. And they measured lower dross production, lower ash production, as in it saves money. Case 3. They were already operating at 1.3 grams a liter, so we didn't worry about 5 minutes. We didn't worry about 1.3. They were operating at 4.5. We brought it back to 2.3, and we set up a test program of 7 months. That meant we bought a pallet of tubes, and we did a galvanizing test every month. At the same, we cleaned the galvanizing filter first, so we had exactly the same circumstances. This test started with just filtration at 4.5. That gave a little bit sludge in the filter press. The next step was iron removal at 4.5. Went all right, but not a very dry filter cake. And after that, we started at lowering the pH to 2.3. And that's where it all changed. It was over Christmas that we needed some time to lower the pH. And after Christmas, the plant started up, and the people at the kettle, they went to their supervisor and said, "What are we doing? Why do we have less spikes? Why is the quality better than in December?" Only because of lowering the pH, 2.3, nothing else. Less pickles, less roughness, less ashes, different type of ashes. And the conclusion of this, they wrote a report about 50, 60 pages on this test, and they bought already the second unit, and we're talking about a third unit, because they're convinced that their quality is improved of galvanized. Even their customers are satisfied, more satisfied with the galvanized steel. June 2013, 2.3, 0.5 on iron. Yeah, we made that. We're quite common with the. We will give you the unit, no cure, no pay. We are so confident with our product. That means we will make up a contract, and if we're convincing you that you're earning money, as in return on investment, within 8-9 months, because that's actual data, then we will give you the unit for 5-6 months. And after that, we're going to take it back, or you have to pay. Savings, slightly cheaper than sludge removal from the tank, but the work after galvanizing, the grinding and so on, I believe they had 5 people, and now they have 4. Proposition. Within a couple of weeks, we have a website that's only talking about flux cleaning, not only from our product, but in general. We gave a contract to chemical suppliers to test in the lab if there are really no disadvantages on lowering the pH. And this is the proposition. This is our unit. Our company is Euromachinagia, and we're just across the entrance. We can provide you with a questionnaire. You have to fill it out, and we will get back to you, not with an offer, but with a schedule, what you can do with your flux tank, and how fast you will get your money back by buying a flux cleaner. Thank you.